Hello, movie lovers. I hope everyone is doing well. Today, I'm going to explain a movie with a story that's both strange and terrifying. In this story, a killer commits murders one after another using dead bodies, yet no one knows who the killer is or what their motive might be. Moreover, why is the killer using corpses to carry out the murders, and how are they controlling them? We'll uncover all of this from the 2021 Korean movie, The Dead Man's Spree. But before diving into the main story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. At the beginning of the movie, we see a middle-aged man. When he returned home in the dark of the night, we learned that the man's name was Kwin Chun. Tired, he entered the house and pressed the light switch, but the light did not turn on. Then he grabbed the TV remote and tried to turn on the TV, but the TV was not receiving a signal, which made Kwin quite annoyed. As he looked around, he noticed the window was open. Suspecting a thief, he picked up a sturdy stick and cautiously looked out of the window but could not see anyone. Just then, he sensed someone behind him wearing a hoodie. Reacting quickly, Kwin swung the stick and struck the man on the neck. However, the strange thing was that nothing happened to the man. On the contrary, his body becomes black, and there is a strange type of tattoo on his hand. Then, before understanding anything, the man attacks Kyun. So he tries to save himself and calls the police helpline, but the strange man then bites Kyun's neck and sucks the blood so that Kyun dies there. As well as the strange man's body starts to fall off and kneels there, he sits there like a statue. Meanwhile, when there was no response from Kyun, the helpline police came to his house and recovered the bodies of both of them. Following this, we see all the police officers gathered in a meeting to discuss Kyun's case. During the discussion, one officer informs everyone that Kyun's death was caused by a poison known as PSP, which is considered one of the most lethal poisons. When the chief officer inquires about the killer, the same officer reveals that the killer had died 3 months earlier. This means that the person who killed Kyun wasn't alive. Hearing such shocking information, everyone in the meeting is stunned. Detective Jun, who is also present, realizes that the city is once again witnessing a series of bizarre events, similar to incidents that had occurred in the past. From here, the scene shifts to a radio station, where a writer named Imu has been invited for a guest appearance. Imu has recently written a new book about occult magic and is also the director of a news channel called Urban Detective. During the radio show, the host asks Imu about the rituals described in her new book. Imu responds to the questions confidently and explains the practices. However, the audience listening to the show starts making various comments, as none of them seem willing to believe that it's possible to resurrect dead bodies and use them to commit murder. Even the host finds it hard to take Imu's claims seriously. Just then, a caller joins the program and begins speaking directly with Imu. The caller reveals that he is the one responsible for Kyun's murder. Hearing this, both Imu and the host are shocked. The caller then says that he wants to meet Imu in person the next day at 2 p.m. and promises to give a live interview about the murder. He provides Imu with the address of a hotel for their meeting. After the program ends, Imu goes to her news channel office. There, she meets a new team member, a young intern named Jessie, who has been hired as her camera woman. Shortly afterward, Imu retrieves Kyun's case file from another director of the channel, Mr. Sang, and begins reviewing it. Through the file, Imu learns that Kyun was 46 years old, a researcher at Seonggil Pharmaceuticals, and had gone through a divorce 4 years ago. The report confirms that he died due to poisoning. To her surprise, the file also contains a photo of the killer. The forensic report reveals that this so-called killer had been dead for 3 months, and the real culprit had used the corpse to kill Kyun by resurrecting it. While Imu is absorbed in reviewing the file, her husband, Detective Jun, arrives unexpectedly. Startled, Imu quickly hides the file and asks Jun why he's there. Instead of answering, Jun demands to know how they obtained information about an unpublished case, but neither Imu nor Sang said anything to Jun. Jun then forbade Imu from taking tomorrow's interview. Hearing this, Sang explained to Jun that she might never get another opportunity like this for an interview because the murderer himself wanted to meet her. Imu then told Jun that she had to take this interview to find out the murderer's identity and motive, and that by doing so, Jun could quickly advance her investigation. Hearing Imu's words, June agreed, but on the condition that she would stay in the mountains with her force during the interview, as she could handle any trouble with her team if necessary, meaning that's what a caring husband does. Anyway, after June left, Sang showed her a video. The video showed a girl practicing witchcraft in Chicago, Japan. The girl's name was Sujin. Sujin disappeared while practicing witchcraft, so if Sujin could be found, people would start to believe Imu. Seeing Sujin here, Imu recognized her immediately because Sujin was her younger sister. Although Sujin practiced witchcraft, Imu didn't like it. One day suddenly, Sujin disappeared without saying anything and was never seen again. The next day, as planned, Imu went to the hotel to interview the murderer, and June and her force were on standby around the hotel. A man then entered the hotel and headed towards the interview room. When the man entered the interview room, Imu greeted him. As the live interview began, the man introduced himself as Park, claiming to be a tantric who could reanimate corpses. He confessed to using a corpse in the Kyun murder. Imu expressed her disbelief at the idea of using a corpse for murder, to which Park replied that it would soon be believed. Imu then asked why he had decided to give the interview. Park explained that he wanted to warn everyone, as he planned to commit 3 more murders. The first would be of Kim, the director of Seongil Farmer, at exactly 2 p.m. 2 days later. 2 days after that, he would kill Lee, the company's CEO, followed by the chairman, Boo, 2 days later. However, to stop the killings, Park demanded that the chairman of Seongil Farmer publicly apologize to him sincerely, but he did not reveal why he had this demand. Afterward, to escape, Park held a knife to Imu's throat and took her hostage so that the police couldn't arrest him. Then, just as June saw this on the CCTV, everyone rushed to rescue Imu, and Jesse started recording everything with a camera. However, Park took Imu hostage and dragged her into the elevator in front of everyone. June also jumped into the elevator to rescue Imu, leading to a chaotic struggle. Park started attacking June in a strange manner. Imu then shot Park in the leg with June's pistol, but surprisingly it had no effect. Park then took Imu hostage and brought her to the ground floor of the hotel, where the police had surrounded him. Imu noticed the same mark on Park's hand that she had seen on the dead body. Realizing something was amiss, she asked Park why he had chosen her for this. Park replied that she had to find the answer herself and then let go of Imu. The body that had killed Kyun collapsed just like the other corpse. Everyone realized that Park was not a living person but a corpse. Later, it was revealed that everyone in the Seongil Farmer's office was watching the video of Park, except for the chairman. It was discovered that Park had been a researcher at the company who had died 2 months ago, but the cause of death was unknown. After watching the video, Director Kim became terrified, because according to Park, he will be the first to be killed after 2 days, so everyone there decided that they would inform the chairman, and according to Park's demand, the chairman should come live and apologize. Then the chairman's daughter, Mim, said that if the father comes live and apologizes, the value of our company will be reduced in the market, so we will remove the Park video from the internet quickly, and, for Director Kim, at the end of the meeting, it was seen that the police came to this company for questioning because they came to know that Park was missing for 2 months and worked as a researcher in this company. But neither CEO Lee nor the chairman's daughter, Mim, gave any clear information to the police. On the contrary, Imu comes to a professor to understand the mystery of this strange murder. Then the professor writes him to a tantric. The book shows that there is talk about bringing a corpse back to life and controlling the corpses. After being alive, he will be able to walk and talk like a normal human being, even the hands and feet of the corpse that have become black just like the man who killed Kyun and Park. Then the professor said that the tattoo on Park's hand means revenge, and this type of tattoo is only seen in Indonesia. It means that an Indonesian tantric is using his black magic to do these things with corpses, and he may be more experienced in this matter. In fact, Indonesian politicians once won elections for the sake of these tantrics themselves. After that, the professor started talking in detail about the steps of using the corpse. Firstly, the body that the tantric will use should mix his own blood with the soil of the grave of the corpse and make a doll with that soil. Then a special mark should be written in the symbol by keeping the clay doll, and according to that instruction, the body will come alive and do that work. That means that the next murders will be done by using these corpses. So when Imu came out of there, his colleague Sang called him and told him that the body who killed Kyun was also missing for 5 months. He also finds a gang that gathers poor housewives, and from them, he finds the body that killed Keon, but the leader of the gang is now in jail for illegal casino business. Hearing this, Emu then asked Sang to go to jail and find out about this. So the next day, Sang came to jail and talked to the gang leader, and here a big secret is known. That some people were needed for a medicine trial of Seungil Pharma, so in exchange for money, the gang leader secretly collected some poor people, and in this trial, Park was the leader of the research team. Under his supervision, the trial was run on these people, but the trial failed repeatedly. At one point, the gang leader caught the illegal immigrants in the city and supplied them, but even after the trial failed, those migrants also died one by one, and thus, in just 6 months, a total of 100 people died in that trial. However, a huge police force was stationed below the company for the safety of the directors of Seungil Pharma, and inside the office, the directors were all waiting for the murderer with great horror. Because according to Park, today is the day of the assassination of Director Kim. In the meantime, Emu suddenly sees a living corpse wearing a hoodie approaching the company. Then slowly, a total of 100 people come there, which means that these are the 100 people who were killed by Seungil Pharma for illegal trials. Emu is nervous to see so many bodies together. The police force also lined up to stop the living bodies, but the living bodies then ran together to the police. They broke through barricades and entered Seungil Pharma, and even when the police opened fire, nothing was happening to them. The tantric has ordered these 100 living corpses to kill Director Kim, so the living corpses climb up to the top of the office just to kill Kim without harming anyone else. Seeing this, Kim gets more scared, so Detective Jun decides to get out of the building with him. He takes Kim in the elevator to go to the parking floor of the building, and just then, the tantric is shown a glimpse of the corpses from above after getting the instructions of the tantric. By the time Jun moved into the building's parking lot with Director Kim and Seo Lee, and then the bodies came and started attacking them, and just then, Emu came with a car and pushed the car at full speed and removed the bodies. In this opportunity, Jun then took Kim and Lee in a car and got out of there. Then the bodies came out into the street, and the driver took out of the taxi and took many taxis behind the car. He was in the back, and his cameraman was showing the whole thing live. The great car chase between Jun's car and the corpse taxis. In the meantime, Jun's car entered an underpass. The corpse cars and the bodies surrounded them from all sides. At one point, Jun came out of the underpass with the car, but their car was stopped. So the bodies then ran and tried to get Director Kim out of the car. Despite many attempts, Jun and Seo Lee could not hold her. Emu then sat down on the road and started doing the whole thing live, but due to the infection due to the dead bodies in Jun's hands, his hands began to blister. Seeing this, Emu then ran to Jun and hugged him and started crying because Jun is his husband, and just then the ambulance came, and all the injured, including Jun, were sent to the hospital. The next scene shows that the CEO of the company comes to his house to talk to Lee, the chairman, because according to Park, now it is Lee's turn. So Lee tells the chairman everything here and requests him to apologize to stop this. But the chairman says that he would apologize to whom it was merely ridiculous to those who died. Nothing but the chairman's behavior hurts Lee because the chairman is not only his boss, but Lee's own elder brother, and they formed the company together. So when Lee was leaving the house frustrated, the chairman's daughter, Mim, met Lee's niece. Lee's niece told Mim, "Your father and I have always made medicines for the good of people, but for the medicine trial so many people have died. It was completely your decision where I had no opinion then. Now this responsibility is yours." Hearing this, Mim got a little angry and said that, "I did everything for the good of the company, and now, don't exaggerate these things, you are just scared." Mim insults Lee a little by saying this. On the other hand, Emu and the detective team were talking to the professor in a video conference about the injured. The professor said that those who were admitted to the hospital in the attack of the corpses were not sick due to poison, but due to the curse of the tantric, and now the way to save them is to curse the tantric who cursed, or the cursed people will die. Hearing this, Emu became more worried because his husband, Jun, was also injured in the hospital. Then Emu's colleague Sang said that the gang leader told him that he had supplied some illegal immigrants for the trial of Seungil Pharma, and among them, there may have been someone from Indonesia whose family may be a tantric, and now he is taking revenge because the gang leader said that a month after everyone in the trial died, a man came to visit his daughter. The girl also participated in the trial as a gang leader, so she contacted the girl's father with Park's phone number, and that man was dressed like a tantric. That means that the man may have killed him after knowing everything from Park, then using his corpse. Maybe he may have brought the rest of the corpses back to life. That means that to catch the tantric, the list of 100 people who died in that trial needs Emu. Just then, it is seen that Seungil Pharma's CEO Lee came to their channel to interview Emu. Here, he gave the document of the 100 people who died in Lee trial to Emu. Then he interviewed that their company actually made chemical weapons. That's why the PSP started that project. The need is used, and for that trial they used the poor and illegal immigrants, so the tantric may be taking revenge on all those who allowed this trial. Then Lee apologizes to Emu here, and he will take responsibility for his actions. Then Emu asks why the chairman does not apologize. Lee says that as long as his daughter Mim is there, he will not apologize. Lee leaves there by saying that. Meanwhile, Emu is looking for the identity of the tantric from the documents given by Lee, but Emu then remembers the professor said that the tantric will mix his blood with the soil where the body is buried and make dolls and control the bodies from there, so that the tantric may be in the lab building of Seungil Pharma because the people of the trial died there and they may have been buried there. Emu quickly left for the research lab with one of the detective team, and Sang went to the immigration office with another person to find out the details of everyone on the list. But then Emu is seen following a bike behind the car anyway. Emu is the one with the team reach the lab. In the dark, they turn on the lights. Then when they open the door of a room, they are shocked because all the black magic designs on the walls of that room, even they were breathing like living people. That means the tantric is here now. So when they went to the upper floor to find the tantric, there were many bodies attacking them. Emu and the detective boy then ran into a room and locked the door, but a corpse inside the room was Emu's neck. The body was about to kill the EMU by pressing it against the wall when someone came running and took the body, hit on the head and pushed away, and she is basically Emu's sister, Sujin, who was following them with a bike. So Sujin then controlled the corpse with her power. Then some more bodies rushed to that side, and they went to another room and locked the door. Sujin stood there with a round-shaped security ring because if they were inside this ring, the bodies would not be able to see them, but the detective boy was still holding the door. The bodies came and saw him. Sujin comes out of the protective ring to save the detective boy and gives the corpses one by one with her strength. When Emu asked Sujin about him, Sujin said that he was in China for so long and taught him to stop evil spirits from possessing him, and he had learned a lot of Tantra in Japan for a year and a half. But he basically came here after realizing one of the dangers of Emu. Meanwhile, the next target of the bodies, i.e. Seo Lee, committed suicide before killing him. And when the police recovered Lee's body, the chairman's daughter, Mim, was also seen there. There was not a shred of grief in him at his uncle's death, but he might have been happy in his heart, because according to the rules of the company, after the death of the chairman, Lee would have been the next chairman. So due to the death of Lee, the cut of the path of the meme was removed, which means that the legacy will now be the next chairman. However, after the death of Lee, the chairman is afraid. Because he is the target of the corpses this time, he agrees to give an interview on the Emu channel to apologize. When the matter is told to Emu, Emu quickly goes to the office of Seungil Pharma, and Sujin and the detective boy stand in front of the lab because after a while the professor will come there, the signs in the lab, to understand so that the tantric can be found by the police. After some time, the professor comes and they all go inside the lab, including the police. The professor sees the design on the wall and says that this is not a simple design. They are usually used in black magic. Before the professor finishes speaking, Sujin steps forward and touches a design on the floor because she realizes it's an invisibility design, like she had made it herself a while ago to escape the corpses. As soon as the design is touched, the invisible wall disappears and a door is seen in the distance. On the other hand, Emu and the team was interviewing the chairman in the auditorium of Seungil Pharma. His daughter Mim was also on stage with the chairman. The chairman expressed regret for some recent events by saying the words written by his daughter here, meaning technically he avoided the trial incident. So Emu then told the chairman that the murderer did not ask you to apologize to the common people, but asked to apologize to those 100 victims and their families. The chairman then asked his daughter if she should apologize to Mim. If she said yes to the victims, apologizes to him. But if the matter is very white, Emu says that if he apologizes in this way, he will not publicize it, because if the chairman does not apologize from the heart, then the tantric will never lift this curse. Mim then gets angry and starts saying upside down, but the chairman himself agreed to apologize again to save his life. But just then, Emu's phone came to Sang's message. Sang actually went to the immigration office and found out with Emu. The cameraman Jesse is actually Indonesian and is one of the 100 people who died in the trial. The tantric has planned to bring Jesse alive and send him to the team of Emu so that he can kill the chairman, and so when Sang Emu told this through a message, Emu was quite shocked. Emu then looked at Jesse and saw the same mark in Jesse's hand that was seen in the hands of all the corpses. Meanwhile, inside the lab, it is seen that Sujin opens the door and enters a room which is actually a corpse room, and there is another door. Sujini's, so when this door is opened, there is a loud noise. They come and blow them up, and this is where we see the tantric who controls the dead corpses, sitting here. Sujin then proceeded towards the tantric by passing the curse power around him, but one body after another came and attacked him. Suzino then starts to uninfluence the corpses with his spell power, and the tantric then tells Emu through Jesse that Jesse is actually his daughter. He came to work in this country to provide for his family, but this pharmaceutical company has unjustly killed his daughter. Then he says, "I don't think the chairman is apologizing from his heart." So he shouts to the chairman that you could apologize well after killing so many people. No, he runs towards him to kill him. But when the chairman's body started to stop Jesse, there was a fierce fight, and on this occasion, his daughter ran away from there with the chairman. Jesse then beat the guards one after the other and started to catch the chairman. At one point, Jesse broke the window like an action scene and came in front of the chairman. Then he entered the room and stood in front of the chairman and touched him while Sujin was also there. Overcoming all obstacles, he comes to the tantric and holds the tantric's head and uses the effect of driving out all the evil forces inside him. Due to which the tantric's meditation breaks down and the tantric loses to Sujin in the fight between the two, which causes JCO to fall to the ground before touching the chairman, losing his daughter once again. The tantric breaks down in tears. Then Sujin also understands his pain and hands him Jesse's doll. Then the tantric dies, and Sujin also loses consciousness. While the chairman sees Jesse's influence is over, when it is done, he breathes a sigh of relief. But his relief does not last long, because when his daughter, Mim, comes and sees that he is still alive, he secretly pours that PSP on one of Jesse's fingers, then wraps it in a tissue and pretends to wipe his father's face and cuts the cheek. And immediately the chairman dies there due to poisoning in the body. That dream is not really fulfilled, because then Emu and the police come there to see them the death of Mim Baba. When he was crying, Emu asked him to stop acting because Mim's real face has already been leaked. In fact, before the interview started, the microphone that was installed in the chairman's suit was not noticed by Mim, so realizing his stupidity, Mim started shouting in anger, and finally the police arrested the real culprit. So in the next scene, Sujin tells Emu that the tantric not only took revenge on the company, but also on himself, because when he touched the tantric, when she did, she saw a beautiful moment between the tantric and his daughter. Then he did not want to kill the tantric, but the tantric pulled his hand and said that Sujin should not make the mistake of her, because she was so blinded by black magic and devil that she could not take care of her family. So her daughter Jessie had to come here in search of work, and this is why she felt guilty for Jessie's death. So the death of that tantric also cut her curse, and Emu's husband was also cured. But what is seen in the last scene, it seems that part 2 may come, and part 2 will definitely explain it. So if you like the movie, like and comment, and if you want to see more such extraordinary stories,